Nigerians, like other African shoppers, have to tighten their belts. Inflation and speculation have sent the price of commodities through the roof as the fasting month of Ramadan approaches. On this market in Niamey, Hajja Hamsatu made an observation. With her 50,000 CFA franc budget, she can't afford the same products. I wanted to pay garlic. Before it was worth 100 CFA franc. I took a small head and they told me it was worth 250 francs. At the moment, you cannot eat well with this price increase. Sahelian states have experienced some of their driest conditions in years. Nigerian vendors cite these uneven and unpredictable rainfalls to explain the price increase. Other products that are expensive right now are imported. This year's local production was not sufficient to satisfy the demand. Niger heavily relies on food imports, a factor that could account for the price surge, according to this wholesaler representative. The problem that led to the price increase has two facets. The first one is COVID-19 and its consequences, which we haven't been able to properly deal with. And there is a problem of insecurity. To solve these, we need to have a strong national production. Nigerian households are going through hard times at the moment, and some are unable to afford eating 3 meals a day because of the prohibitively expensive prices of staple food.
The UN's chief of political affairs told a Security Council meeting Wednesday that Libya's delayed elections could worsen the political crisis in the North African country and lead to further instability. A disagreement over election rules and candidates scattered the vote, which had been planned for last December.
Our priority is to focus on fulfilling the aspirations of the more than 2.8 million Libyans who have registered to vote. They should be able to choose their leaders through credible, transparent, and inclusive elections according to an agreed-upon constitutional and legal framework.
The election had been touted as one of the solutions to end more than a decade of conflict in Libya.
ما أن تلوح بوادر الانفراج في الأزمة الليبية ونتقدم خطوة إلى الأمام حتى يحاول البعض.
As soon as we see signs of trying to make progress from the taunted Libyan crisis, and we advance one step, some attempt to push us back miles. Differences in the lack of genuine consensus are still the primary features of the current political landscape. And this is the result of political polarization and coexistence with some. And this crisis is fueled by so many negative international interferences from countries who have transferred their conflicts to us. Libya now has two rival prime ministers, the Fatih Bashaga, who was appointed by the Tobruk-based parliament last month, and the head of the unity government, Abdelhamid Beiba, who has so far refused to hand over power.
The Portuguese president, Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa, kicked off a three-day visit to Mozambique this Thursday. Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa was welcomed by his counterpart, Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi. The president expressed the excellence of the relations between Portugal and Mozambique and announced the bilateral summit would be taking place soon. The situation in Ukraine was also discussed. Mozambique abstained on the United Nations condemnation of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Both Rebelo de Sousa and Nyusi stressed the desire to quickly achieve peace in Ukraine. Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa will remain in Mozambique until Sunday with a full agenda of events.
Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi welcomed his Portuguese counterpart on Thursday. If business and military support were some of the main topics discussed on the first day of President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa's visit, the raging conflict in Ukraine also came at the forefront. President Nyusi reiterated his country's neutral stance.
Mozambique
doesn't support war. That is clear. We're in favor of dialogue, and we believe a resolution of the conflict is at hand, because important steps towards dialogue have already been made. We are satisfied with the process. Mozambique doesn't say A is right and B or C are not. We will never say war is a good thing. No one should kill another person. It is always possible to avoid reaching such extremities, and we will continue to encourage dialogue.
Então, apenas para dizer que nós encorajamos o diálogo.
Contrary to Portugal, Mozambique is one of the 35 countries which voted to abstain on the UN resolution demanding Russia to halt its invasion and withdraw its forces from Ukraine.
The president of Guinea-Bissau said on Thursday that the Guinean state is still standing and that he remains firm in his post. The president's speech, delivered on Thursday, takes place after the attempted coup on the 1st of February. Umaro Sissoko Embalo denounced the perpetrators of the coup. They wanted to provoke political chaos and thus condemn Guinea-Bissau to another cycle of political instability and destruction of development expectations. The Guinean state is standing. The President of the Republic, that the Guinean people freely and democratically elected, remains firmly in his post. The President announced that the attempted coup resulted in 12 deaths. The speech also marked the start of the judicial year in the country. The President of the Supreme Court reaffirmed the court's independence. Despite recognizing that the increasing prevalence of personal or group interests over the self-interest of the state, which significantly threatens our democratic system and rule of law, generating a great and dangerous division in our society with enormous reflections on judicial activity. The judiciary, which embodies the courts through its magistrates, is and will continue as an apolitical and non-partisan power. The President of the Supreme Court added that the legal sector is undergoing what he described as deep reforms.